This Craftsman Truck Series Driver Changes Part 2 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 to get $75 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACE, SGPN.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'm just gonna put my foot on the floor and I'm not lifting till I see God or a checkered flag.
My man.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
We want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. In Jesus' name, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome into another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. Show 2 of the 2026 calendar year, and we're already in full mid-season, off-season stride as we continue to struggle with the books not giving us odds and try to figure out exactly what's best to serve you. And last week, or actually earlier this week, we decided that going over some of these Truck Series changes is the way to go. And we'll continue on that road today because as it is with us, Cody, we tend to run a little long when we talk NASCAR.
Yeah, we talk a lot, I guess, is what I've been told. My wife's been telling me that for a while. We've been married for 15 years. So, yeah, it's probably about that long. Maybe even a little longer, but at least we found a good place to use it. But going through the Truck Series, we went through a good number of the driver changes and drivers that are going to be in the Truck Series this year yesterday on part one of this. And it revitalized my excitement for this year in the Truck Series, as we talked about. And we haven't even got to some of the best ones. Yeah, they're coming up in part two here. All right. So I'm really, really excited about this 2026 Craftsman Truck Series field because I think we got a lot of really good drivers. A few drivers that are kind of stepping back down into the Truck Series that are going to make this series really, really fun. You've got the infusion of Reaume with the Dodge and everything, and that is going to help, I think, bring even more excitement to the Truck Series. So pretty pumped for this 2026 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series.
Yeah, go back, listen to the first episode if you haven't already. Obviously, we did go over the first 20 or so drivers that are in the Truck Series. Initially, we were going to just talk really about the drivers that changed, but then it just turned into we should probably go driver by driver and give our expectations as to what they are.
Yeah, I mean, more so in the lower two series that really matters because there is a lot of changes, right? So it is notable to remind you of who is returning to these rides, especially in the Truck Series because some of them have left and moved on up. So, I think it's good to just go through the whole field. And there's not really a ton of guys that are actually, or ladies, right, in the Breidinger case, but that are returning to their rides. It is a lot of new faces in new places and some on same teams, but different numbers, different car or trucks in this case. I think it's good to go through all of them.
I agree. So we will continue to do that in this episode. But before we go any further and get into some of the news that Cody's got just itching to get out, I want to remind you that you can get access to all of our free picks and our podcasts in one convenient place. Where is that, Rod, you ask? It is the SGPN app. Go download it now for free in the App Store. All you got to do, take those little fingers, go SGPN, and it magically appears. You can hear us and everybody else on the network and have yourself a good time. So, Cody, there is some 500 news that you want to break to us right now, isn't there?
Yes, there is, Rod. This is the music to your ears. One Jimmie Johnson has a guaranteed spot in the 2026 Daytona 500. If you remember, NASCAR had that new rule where they would, do the open exemption provisional, they were calling it. It had to be somebody with an extraordinary motorsports background or whatever the case is. I can't think of many people with a more extraordinary one in NASCAR than Jimmie Johnson, right? 7-time champion, greatest NASCAR driver ever. So he is guaranteed a spot in the Daytona 500 after Legacy applied for that. They've been granted that. So again, the way that works is so right now we've got your 36 charter cars, right? The permanent charters, if you will, Rod. Those 36 are guaranteed into the race. Then you have the 4 open spots. Currently, there are 7 cars, according to Bob Pockrass, that are trying to get in to those 4 spots. If Johnson races his way in and is one of those 40, great. Then he is in. He gets to go race for the money. He gets to go race for everything. If he fails to be one of those 40 that qualify in, or in this case, the 4 open cars that qualify in, he will get that extra spot, and it just won't count for the purse. So you get to go run the race. You get to do the sponsorship deal. You're in the race. You can win, get the trophy, everything if you win the race. But there is no purse money attached. So imagine somebody winning the Daytona 500 and not winning any purse at all. That would be a little crazy, but it makes a lot of sense because obviously it brings in a guy like a Jimmy Johnson or like an Helio Castroneves or maybe Max Verstappen one day or whoever it is, and they're guaranteed to race. So you don't show up and think, oh, they put together a sponsorship deal, they got all this stuff leading up to it, and then they didn't even get a race in the Daytona 500. For somebody like Jimmy Johnson, it's less about the purse money from the 500. Yeah, it'd be nice for the team. I'm sure he would take the money, right? But that's not what it's about. It's about him being in there. Remember last year they had the whole deal with Shaq and the partnership with Carvana there, made a big deal out of it and all sorts of stuff. So that to them is even more valuable. And for us, Jimmy Johnson's going to be the Daytona 500, and that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Rod, we should just create the doc now. We'll go ahead and put we'll reserve your space. I've got the Carson Hocevar space reserved already. I'll allow you to reserve the Jimmy Johnson bet. He'll be in the 500.
So for those of you who don't know, and maybe this is your first episode listening, I am a gigantic Jimmy Johnson fan, have been since his rookie season, by the way, before he started ripping off all of the championship runs that he did. And so, for me, Jimmy Johnson, obviously.
People don't like it when you're fans of something before they're good, Rod.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I was a fan of the Patriots before their 6 Super Bowls. Oh, you're such a man. You're not even from New England. Sorry, I picked a good one. All right.
And it's funny because that's exactly what happened for me all the way around. Like when Colorado ended up moving, or when the Colorado Avalanche moved from Quebec to Colorado, I was like, this seems like a cool time to actually jump in and be a fan of the Colorado Avalanche. So I was a fan of the Colorado Avalanche. What do? Go off and win a bunch of Stanley Cups in the first run of I can't help it if I pick good teams and drivers and people to cheer for.
Yeah, and you're a 49ers fan, so
Right? All right. So anyways, yes, I will auto bet Jimmy Johnson, and it will be in there, and maybe the whole card will be Jimmy Johnson. So calm down if you think I'm going to bet on
cash some of those bets last year. I believe you gave out a top 10 on him, and he finished 5th or 3rd or something. I mean, he was up there in the mix. All those legacy boys were right up there. So, you love to see this. And then just to update the 500, currently Bob Pockrass says 7 expected cars vying for the 4 open spots. It's been confirmed that Justin Allgaier will race for Junior Motorsports once again. Corey Heim for 2311. Casey Mears is going to attempt the 500 in the Garage 66 entry. BJ McLeod will be in there in the Live Fast. 2009 F1 champion J.J. Yaley will be running for New York Racing, which that car, Greg Biffle drove that one in the 500 a couple of years ago. And then he's expecting announcements from the Beard car, the 62. We always see them enter the super speedways, and RCR. They've often obviously entered that extra car. Jesse Love, Austin Hill, probably one of those guys you would think, but those are expected rides that have not yet been announced.
It's going to be a lot of fun to pay attention to who officially makes it and who doesn't, and who's going to be watching it from the outside. All that drama will resolve itself as we head closer to the Daytona 500, including updated odds and the likes. So we will do all of that as it gets closer. Forgive me, though, for those of you watching on YouTube. I'm going to probably be reaching for a tissue more often than not. I know it's not the most sexiest thing in the world, and unfortunately I don't have a producer over here that can switch off when I go and wipe my nose, but been battling a head cold. It's one of those things. So, and for those of you who don't think I sound the same on the audio version, you're absolutely right.
I think you sound beautiful, as always, Rod.
Thank you.
That's that time of year. Everybody understands right now.
Indeed. Okay, so we last left off on the number 19 McNally Hilgeman Racing truck of Daniel Hemric. Now, let's turn our attention to the number 22, which I mean, it's probably going to be another one of the situations where we probably won't ever talk about it other than today because we're going through all the drivers. The Team Reaume truck that's slated for Josh right now. Last season, it was a hodgepodge between Jason White, Josh, Keith McKee. We had Alex Walker in there. Tyler Tomasi jumped in there a couple times. Mason Maggio. It was just a who's who of, hey, you got money? You want to drive a truck? Here you go, bud.
Hey, those trucks are important to the field as well. So that's good.
Yep. So that'll be it. That's
all I got, man. That's all I got, Rod.
Seriously.
I mean, you know, there might be some spot starts depending on who gets in the truck, or you might play him as a cheap DFS driver or something, but that's about the extent of that with the 22 truck.
Yeah, I mean, in the starts that Josh even put in there, with this 18th at Atlanta, 28th at Las Vegas, 18th at Fort Worth, 25th at Michigan, 28th at Bristol, 33rd at the Roval, 24th at Talladega. I mean, it's just, nothing to write home about. Maybe a DFS option later down the road. Who knows? That'll be it.
He's always cheap, so it's a potential punt play if you can find a spot where he's decent, but again, we probably spent too much time on it already.
I think we did. All right. We talked yesterday. I don't even know what day it is. This is how
feels like last week, the way this day's been.
Right? We talked yesterday about the entrance of Reaume into the Dodge Truck Series, or the Dodge into the Craftsman Truck Series again. So Dodge, once again, is going to be a player in the game. Well, you know, Colleague Racing obviously picking up the mantle for that, bringing in some big names to front them as well, including Daniel Dye, including Brendan Queen, including that 14 whoever wins that reality show, Justin Haley, obviously the biggest name. The 25 truck is going to be taking the track full time, and again, another free agent driver every week for this one. I think this is the one. Cody, this is the one where everybody gets to win and play.
Yeah, really excited about this truck, actually. So it's going to be the Reaume free agent truck. They're going to announce every week. It sounds like maybe on Monday, like, okay, this is the guy that's in the truck this week. And that's all the heads up we're going to get, which is kind of a cool, interesting type of thing. But there are some big names tied to this ride. Tony Stewart, Casey Kane. They both obviously have Dodge ties with Tony has the Mopar partnership with his wife, Leah Pruitt, over in the NHRA stuff. He's obviously been doing that with Mopar as well. So that tie-in, Casey Kane obviously formerly drove the Dodge car in the Cup Series back in the day. He's got those ties. So it'd be great to see those guys, right? And then I think there's going to be, it sounds like they're going to get pretty creative with this. I think we're going to see a good mixture of maybe some of the older guys they can bring back and have fun with, like those guys. And you might see some young up-and-comers. And just a good majority of a mixture of people, I suppose, in this truck. So pretty excited for this truck. It's going to should be a lot of fun. And it doesn't sound like it's going to be, oh, this guy's going to do 10 races and then we'll kind of fill it in here. It sounds like it's going to be different. You might have some repeats as the season goes on, but really it truly is going to be a free agent truck, quote unquote, with a different driver each week. So it should be pretty exciting for the number 25 Reaume truck.
And of course, remember the Truck Series shorter than either one of the O'Reilly and Cup Series seasons. So it's not as if they have a ton more races to fill if they decide to kind of rotate some drivers in and out. But here's what I'm excited about too. This is the way that Reaume is coming into the sport again makes me excited for their enthusiasm, because they're not just coming in and ho-humming it. No, okay, we'll have a couple drivers here. They're all in, right? 5 trucks. They're leaving 2 trucks that are sort of this drama every single week, so you don't know, and you're trying to figure out who will drive this week, or who's going to be driving this week, or oh my God, this person is driving this week. It's bringing a level of excitement and anticipation to this season of the Truck Series that it may have lost on us last year as we watched Corey Heim go out and completely dominate. The biggest drama every single week then was, well, is he going to have that truck underneath them by the end of the week, right? That was the biggest drama. And if he was, he's winning the race. So hopefully this season, like you said, with all of the drivers that are coming in, with all the drivers that are sticking around, and this new Dodge Ram approach to the season, we get a lot of great racing.
Yeah, it should be really exciting, and you've got a nice mix, right? You have the veteran and Justin Haley to anchor a car. You've got the up-and-comer, but not a super young guy, more of a Josh Berry type in Butterbean Queen taking one of the rides. You have this fun thing where you might get appearances from Tony Stewart and Casey Kane. That'll excite the more core fans that have been around a long time, right? To see those legends kind of come back into the sport and have their opportunities to run some races. You've got the show thing that we don't know much about that I'd like for them to give us more details on. But yeah, it's really exciting. And it's always the more there is, the better the competition, and bringing another OEM in the case of Reaume here, and having now 4 manufacturers in the truck series, and hopefully maybe even more down the road as a Honda or somebody else decides to join. But it always breeds more competition and makes them spend more money and brings us better products. So very excited for the Reaume.
Absolutely excited for the Reaume re-entry into the sport. We'll be keeping up with all of them as the season progresses, as we always do. All right, we've got more drivers to get to, but I would like to take this opportunity to tell you about some very important people to us, and that is the folks over at Kalshi. We're partnered up with the Kalshi real money prediction market that is legal in all 50 states. In all 50 states, you can trade tons of markets, including the NFL, college football, college basketball, NBA, NHL, and even more. Plus, you can even trade props like first TDs. Other than sports, besides sports, they got a ton of other markets, including politics, entertainment, hell. You can even trade on the weather with Kalshi. You can really trade on anything, up to and including, here's my favorite one that I just found today. Will the U.S. confirm that aliens exist before 2027? If you want to trade on the yes, you get 11 cents on the yes. On the no, you get 90 cents. So what does that mean to you? Well, if you trade 11 cents on the yes, you'll get back $91 in 2027 if we get, well, and even before, I suppose, if we confirm that there are aliens out there. So that's a lot of fun. Have some fun doing it on Kalshi. New Kalshi customers get $20 when you use promo code SGPN. That's Kalshi, Kalshi, promo code SGPN. How about Underdog Fantasy? Underdog is your home for pick-em entries where you can win up to 5,000 times your entry. Underdog's got you covered this holiday season with Underdog Unwrapped. You'll unwrap tons of promos all throughout the holidays. It is esports season time. Call of Duty League. How about the Reaume Falcons taking on G2 Minnesota? I'm going to go with Kismet. I'm going to have him higher than 26.5 kills for the Falcons on map 1. He's going to come out on the hard point and just go crazy. So Kismet higher than 26.5 kills on game 1 of the match between them and the G2 Minnesota as the Optic Texas major qualifiers roll on. Underdog's got a brand new offer for customers. Play just $5, get $75 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code RACE, SGPN. So what do you think, Cody? Are we part of the Matrix or not? Are aliens controlling us?
I, for one, absolutely love and adore our alien overlords, Rod.
Me too. I would like to say, for the record, that I love.
I just want that on the record out there. I think they're great. I think they're wonderful, and I look forward to meeting them whenever they choose for that to happen.
I mean, listen, we're sucking up now. That way, when it all comes to hell,
I mean, you got to hedge your bets sometimes, right?
100%. Like,
just in case, I'm just gonna put it out there that they're cool.
No, but look, if you haven't played around in Kalshi yet, there's just a whole world.
That's what makes it so great. Is there's stuff like that on there. I mean, you can't get a lot more degen than betting on whether we're gonna find out if there's aliens or not. Like that is right down our alley. Yeah, I absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm. Expect more coming from Kalshi as we progress. But all right, let's turn our attention to the number 26 Rackley War truck. Dawson Sutton going to be back in that truck again. Good DFS guy. Average finish last season of 19.4. Just a place off of his 19.8. Did have a couple of good showings. 4th at Talladega, 13th at the Roval, 17th at Bristol. So, I mean, him-ha, 11th in Nashville. 9th at Fort Worth. Just some pretty decent spots here and there. Not somebody I think we're going to be chasing after a ton with his 2 top 10s, but another stable guy returning to the truck.
Yeah, absolutely. DFS play. He'll be a great option. You got to pick your spots with him. He's got some upside for sure at a few places. Gonna be a tough guy to bet on. Maybe on super speedways, a guy you look at there, that type of place. Somewhere like a Nashville where it's his home track. It's Rackley War's home track. that type of stuff. You maybe come up with some magic or something. You take a wild swing at a bet, but outside of that, DFS guy certainly for Sutton.
100%. Right. This guy, listen, and not a lot of times you get a celebrity that comes over to these types of sports that you just want to cheer for, right? A lot of them come in, they feel like, oh, this is easy. I could do this. I've acted. I've done this. I've done that. I can make this switch. It's not really that difficult, right? But Frankie Muniz came in with the right attitude, is like, listen, I get that I'm a child star. I get that I'm a big actor. I get that I've done several things that have earned me accolades outside of this, but I'm new to racing, right? This is something that I've never done professionally. I'm going to respect the sport. I'm going to respect the people in it. He races with that level of respect and humility that I'm a huge fan of. I wish that it would have translated into more success early on in his career. It hasn't yet, but Frankie Muniz has taken another swing at the 33. He almost hung it up, Cody. He was almost ready to just call it quits. He's got the new Netflix special, right? The 4-episode special that they're bringing back, Malcolm in the Middle. And so I think he had his plate full, and he was just like, I can't do it. I can't catch a break. I'm wrecking out of these races, right? He had 6 DNFs last season, average finish of 24.8 in that 33 truck. But, I mean, you just saw it in his face. Like, he was just like, how many more times do I have to pick myself up again? And this year he's coming back at it again, and I applaud him for that.
Yeah, you love to see it. And he's not a guy that's, I have to make this racing thing work. This is my only option in life. Like, he doesn't need to do the racing thing, obviously, but he wants it that bad, and he's willing to put in the work for it. He's going to do the racing, the full-time truck series, but he's also doing some other racing. He's gotten his hands in, and he's jumping back in full force, wants to be there, wants to do it. You love to see that from a guy like this. Not going to be a lot of opportunities to bet on Malcolm in the Middle, but he's another DFS guy that generally tends to be a little bit cheaper. You get some opportunities to play him. He had that injury late last season too. Maybe that kind of played into weighing on things, but glad to see him come back from that at the end of the year. And then, hopefully we get into a strong year this year. And I think that, it'll be a decent season for Mr. Muniz. And betting wise, probably not a lot of places, but DFS, I certainly think we'll have some opportunities to grab him. Yeah,
he only raced in 4 races in 2024, and then did, of course, the season last year. But yeah, look, for me, like I said, I'm very excited. I want to see him go. He's 39 years old, so he's not a spring chicken. He's definitely somebody that we'll keep an eye on. He did make 2 O'Reilly series starts, I guess Xfinity, in 2024 as well, at Daytona and Phoenix. So, yep, just excited. And like you said, DFS will definitely be all over him, and that's about as far as it goes. But he did get a 14th place in Michigan, so I don't know. We're all there.
Yeah, absolutely. Check in with the chat. John Little checking in. Says, what's up, fellers? Caught up on a recent podcast on my weekly drive to Columbia, Missouri. Mizzou. He's got a M-I-Z. I guess that's for Mizzou. There you go. Hey, thanks for catching up. We appreciate it. John checking in. Wants to know who's driving the Spire trucks. Good question, John.
Good question. Well, we know at least 3.
Well, there's 3, but I don't think we know any of the drivers yet. So, we haven't got to the 71 and 76 yet, which J-Ski has interesting guesses, I guess, on this list, because I don't think those drivers are doing those trucks. But yeah, we'll talk about it in a little bit. We talked about the 7 earlier. We think it'll be rotating casts like it were. We talked about that on yesterday's show, part 1. But rotating cast characters, right? Expect Kyle Busch to be back in there. Carson Hocevar. Last year, Justin Haley drove some races. You maybe expect that to be Daniel Suarez this year. But yeah, we'll talk about the other ones when we get to those numbers respectively, Ron.
We will, because the big one on the list that has not changed is the number 34 Front Row Motorsports of Lane Riggs coming back. Again, man, you talk about how disappointing an end to his season was last year, and now with no Corey Heim, he's gunning for this, right? This is something that I don't think anybody's going to stop him from at least making a huge run for, other than maybe himself. He may be the only one stopping himself from making a championship run this year. But yeah, Lane Riggs, he will be a force to be reckoned with. And I say that even though we lost Corey Heim, Cody, I feel like we still gained enough competitors to still make this not a runaway season for Lane Riggs, but he will have a say in what goes on in the championship race.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have odds yet for the championship, but is Lane Riggs the favorite when the odds do come out, Rod? I think there's a good argument for him to be the top dog. Again, it's a deep field, especially at the top. We've got a lot of good guys that are going to compete. Not going to say he's going to walk away with it, but certainly should be the favorite or within the top three, I suppose, of being the favorites. Just a rough playoffs, didn't get off to the right start, got bounced. And finished the season with some good finishes, but was already eliminated from the playoffs at that point in time. But expect another good season. I mean, we've seen the buildup has been there, right? He slow in his rookie season and catches fire as soon as the playoffs start, even though he didn't make the playoffs. He won, I think, the first two races of playoffs. And then last year makes the playoffs, runs out of steam early. So maybe this year we get him a little bit farther there, have a shot at it. But yeah, expecting a huge year from Lane Riggs. He's going to be a driver we talk about a lot. He's going to be in the mix to win just about each and every single week. He's going to be a driver we talk about a ton when we're talking about Truck Series betting in 2026 because he, as I mentioned, should be the top, if not one of the very top drivers on the odds board and on the track as well.
Yep, 3 wins, 13 top 5s, 16 top 10s, and 25 starts last year for Lane Riggs. Pretty solid. And with 12 wins gone off the board, you got to figure he'll probably pick up a couple more and put himself in some pretty elite territory in the Truck Series. His teammate in the 38, Chandler Smith, we were kind of on him in fits and spurts last year. Unfortunately, didn't really turn that into much more than 2 wins, 5 top 5s, 16 top 10s. An average finish, though, of 11.8, finishing in 8th place overall in the standings. And this is, he returns to the 38 truck. He's another one, Cody, where kind of went down again to try to come back up, and we didn't see what we expected to see out of him late in the season, especially.
Yeah, if we did for the Truck Series, what we did with the Cup Series, where we kind of named, some of our more disappointing drivers, Chandler Smith might top that list, honestly. I was very high on him coming back down, run for JGR in the Xfinity Series back in 24, right? And then he steps down in 25 back to the Truck Series. You're like, okay, here we go. Been really good in the Truck Series before with the Kyle Busch Motorsports drive, stuff like that. And then it just, I don't know, it kind of was flat. And I don't know if that's because Front Row was, again, expanding back to 2 trucks or why it was that he didn't maybe perform at the level we think he should have or that I thought he should have for sure. But there were definitely some bright spots, right? He got the win, so he at least checked that off at North Wilkesboro. Had some really good runs. It wasn't a horrible season, but for where my expectations were, certainly didn't live up to it. But I think the expectations should be fairly high. I'm going to be more cautious going into this year with Chandler Smith. I felt like I kept trying to bet on him, and it just never worked out really last year. But he should be a guy that we could expect to be in the mix each and every single week. This is a very good team. I expect both of these drivers. We obviously just talked about his teammate Lane Riggs, but this Front Row team should be very good. And they're flush with cash. They had a recent influx of cash, Rod. I don't remember where that came from.
Oh, let me think. Maybe judicially? They spend judicially? I don't get it. No, but listen.
Undisclosed amount.
Undisclosed envelope slid underneath of a door. It was like, here you go, buddy. This is for you. But up until his win at North Wilkesboro, though, Chandler Smith had only had 1 finish outside, or 2 finishes rather, outside of the top 15. And then after that win at North Wilkesboro, 34th at Charlotte, 23rd at Watkins Glen. And then it kind of really went downhill. 30th at Darlington, 30th at Bristol, 19th at the Roval, 22nd at Talladega. He finished with a couple of solid top 10 runs, but I mean, it was just a smattering of pretty disappointing finishes.
And maybe the disappointment was a lot of top 10s. He definitely had a lot of top 10s, but he was not cracking the top 5 very often, which is what we have to bet in the Truck Series, right? And so maybe that's why I relate the disappointment there a little bit. But there's just a couple spots where you felt like, oh, this should be a Chandler Smith week, and it just was never the Chandler Smith week that we thought we would get outside of, the North Wilkesboro win, which, by the way, he led 1 lap. So that was a chaotic end of the race. I think there was another one that Corey Heim dominated and didn't get the win in because of chaos late. So, it felt like maybe we should have more dominating races from him, where he should be running up front more often. I guess there was the one. Well, he won at Bristol as well, so I guess he did have the multiple wins. But the Bristol one, he led 107 laps. That's kind of what you expected, right? But outside of that, his next best race was Rockingham, where he led 23 laps, and that was, well, I guess he led 34 at Daytona as well. So there you go. But outside of those, he didn't have a lot of races where he led many laps, which is kind of what you expected from him. So we'll see if they can kind of step up their game a little bit here in 2026.
Yes, he's going to need to, because if he wants to get back up to the top, then he's going to need to start climbing for real this year. All right, that number 42 Nice truck, right? That's one of the ones that is a more notable truck and one that we know very well from its success a couple of years ago.
Who was that successful driver in that truck, Rod? What's he doing these days?
Well, I think he's peddling, what is it, El Dente's from Applebee's? Is that what it is? Or Chili's?
I believe it's Chili's, but yes.
Whatever. See, this is how much I don't pay attention to that guy. But Tyler Reif, the ARCA Series stud, will be in that, and he's going to run a majority of the races as per what Jay Ski says here in 2026. Kind of a big truck to fill, right? Last year he made one start in the Nice 41 at Phoenix, got a 9th place finish, so there's a little bit of fanfare around this kid. He's got one win in the ARCA Menards Series, and then he's got, let's see, I'm looking at the West. He's got 3 wins in the ARCA Menards West Series. So not a huge track record of wins, but a kid that I think they're very excited about and very excited about his possibilities.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think they should be. The one truck race, he comes out, runs 9th place. That's pretty solid, right? He'll be the quote unquote anchor driver for this truck. So they're not necessarily committing to a full season. We'll see. Maybe he comes out and runs pretty well, and they're able to finish out the financing or whatever the deal is on that. But yeah, I mean, we've seen some really good drivers come through this Nice program. You look at guys like Ross Chastain, you look at guys like Carson Hocevar. They've turned out some people over the years, and these are good trucks. They're not, you wouldn't put them on the necessarily elite level that we have some of these, the ThorSports, the front rows, the Tricons, obviously, but they're kind of that next tier of very good trucks that can turn in some top 5 runs for you, and certainly some DFS performances. So probably be a guy we'll keep our eye on a little bit early on, see how things look, and maybe try to jump on some top 5s if we get an opportunity that looks really good, and definitely be a guy that we'll consider, I would say, fairly often for DFS. I'd imagine he'll be lower price of the mid-tier drivers, and in a truck that good with a driver with potential like he has, definitely be a guy that you could target in DFS.
Do yourself a favor. Go Google him. You are going to be absolutely thrilled with that hairstyle that you uncover when you're looking up Tyler Reif, because short of the frosted tips that we love so much on some of these other guys, this guy's got it going on right now with his hairstyle.
Oh, wow. That is, yes.
Right?
He's got it going on, Rob.
He's got it going on.
Wow. That's some hair.
I will never have
you
that
definitely... Please go Google this fella.
Yep, you must do it. It's a must do. Stop, pull over if you're driving, and then Google him, and you can thank us in a little while. All right, we got more drivers to get to, another Nice driver, but we'll do that on the other side of this break. Let's tell you first about our friends over at Novig. We're also brought to you by Novig. Novig is America's #1 sports prediction market. With Novig, you are getting the best prices. Do not believe me. I am looking right now at the Novig markets and pulling up the pro football games for this weekend. My San Francisco 49ers taking on the Eagles. You can actually get the 49ers at +5.5 at -112 for this game. Absolutely love that. I don't think that the Eagles are going to run away with this. You can even get them on the money line, the Niners, at +201. Woo, absolutely love it. The over-under set at 45.5, the over at -109, the under at -106. So it's almost like a no-lose depending on which side of it you actually want to go on. See, that's how much VIG that Novig is taking away. At Novig, right? So go download the Novig app. Get $50 when you spend $5 if you use promo code SGPN. Get in on the action with Novig, promo code SGPN. Rhythm has been absolutely crushing it all season long, especially on props in the NFL, where they've been really good at identifying when to fade players and take those unders. College basketball is up and running, and with 300-plus schools, Rhythm has predictions for every game, every night, which, like a fine wine, pairs nicely with the daily TCE shows with Matt Colby and Noah. Every game, you are prepared. Super easy to sign up, run predictions off the house model, or you can make your own and play with the sliders. With so many sports in the holidays, makes it easy to get an elite prediction on a game so I can focus on all kinds of other sports. Again, speaking of this Eagles and 49ers game, let's look at rushing yards where they've got Brian Robinson. I told you yesterday that they had him at 13.5. They have not fixed this yet. It is still 13.5, and they're giving you the over on this one at -114. Christian McCaffrey's backup has done this so many times, it's criminal that they're still giving you the over prediction. Anybody's giving you -114 for the over. The last time he didn't do it was last week, but before that, it was 8 weeks in a row that he did over 13.5 yards. Give me Brian Robinson over 13.5, and Rhythm is backing me up on that one as well. Use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off of your first month. Download Rhythm and use promo code SGPN25. They never tell you in broadcasting school how hard it is to keep up steam when your nose is starting to just close up and your head is only concentrating on the fact that you have very little breath left to get the rest of the words out. I feel like somebody needs to teach us that.
Well, I think you're doing a great job, Rod. So
Thank
that's
you.
all that matters.
I'm playing through injury, kids. This is a lesson for all of you out there. Play through injuries. All right, the 44 Nice truck will be piloted again by Andres Perez de Lara. Again, kind of one of those guys that we're not necessarily going to be over unless we're talking DFS, 19.2 average finish. He started in the top 15 most of the time, only 3 top 10s on the year. DFS guy is what we're looking at.
Yeah, this is another one that I don't think is completely confirmed just yet, but we saw some good stuff out of him. He started the year with Spire last year, but then they released him and kind of just put him out into the ether. So, Nice picked him up and ran some starts with him. We'll see what they end up doing with this truck full time. But, interesting. He's an interesting driver. I think somebody keep an eye on. Probably not a lot of ways we're going to bet on him. We'll see on the DFS side of things.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll start talking about him a little more. And if they end up rotating drivers, I just don't know who else is out there to rotate with. Like I don't see very many other out there you can grab.
It might just be a piecemeal of who can afford to buy some of these races, and that's honestly where especially with the Nice trucks, it seems like that's where we've been at more so than they had a lot of full-time guys previously, but more recently, it's been more just piecemealing these trucks together. Even the Tyler Reif stuff, you get him in there, and it's like, okay, this is a great opportunity, but still just going to be the anchor driver, right? They're still going to fill in the gaps with other drivers.
Yes, indeed. All right, it seems like Nice is just sort of all over the place this year. Caden Honeycutt, obviously deoccupied or got away from the 45 truck after his plans to exit from the Chevy world were announced. And so Caden Honeycutt driving the 45 for the better part of the year. And then it was a one-race takeover for Connor Zilic at Watkins Glen. Bailey Curry ended up taking over for the rest of the season in that 45. As of now, there's no formal announcement that he will continue to do that in the 45 truck this coming season. But again, look, you're getting closer to the season and you're not announcing these drivers yet. Who else do you got?
We're getting pretty close, Rod. We're 39 days from the Daytona 500, which means we're 37 days from the first Craftsman Truck Series race. So yeah, let's get our shit figured out here, people. But yeah, I would expect Bailey Curry to continue. He took this ride over, but he was previously driving the 44 car a bit when they kind of shifted things after the Honeycutt deal. But I would expect to see quite a bit of Bailey Curry probably in the 45 truck again this year.
I agree. Because again, who else do you got? You just don't have anybody else that you can necessarily keep turning to and to figure it out. All right. So then let's turn our attention to the 52 Stewart Friesen's truck, which of course Stewart Friesen gladly handed over to Caden Honeycutt after, well, maybe not gladly. Stewart Friesen would have much rather finished the season than be hurt and give it to Caden Honeycutt. But I'm sure he was very pleased watching the run that Caden Honeycutt went on at the end to secure himself a spot in the Final Four and an opportunity to win the championship. And now with Caden Honeycutt officially in the 11, Stewart Friesen really, really hoping to be back from that injury for Daytona and run out the 52 again. But, Cody, this may be the last year for Stewart Friesen if, because you figure you get hurt like that, You have to sit out the season. You come back, but you're always wondering, is this the other one that's going to make it hurt more?
Yeah, and so a lot of questions here. I mean, Stewart just started walking again within the last 2 or 3 weeks here. It's not been long. That was, if you don't remember, gruesome modified wreck up in Canada, flipped his modified up onto a wall and broke all kinds of things in his legs and all sorts of problems. So a couple of things here, right, is he's already a little bit of an older driver, right? He's in his 40s. So as you know, Rod, it takes a little bit longer for things to heal. They don't heal as well. So how healed up is he going to be for Daytona? Will he be cleared to race? That's, I think, still in question at this point. And then, like you mentioned, is he still able to race like he did before the wreck? Because when you get to a certain point in life, and he's got his wife, obviously Jessica, we know her well from her racing endeavors, and their son, of course. And you start to think, and that little thing in the back of your head starts to, oh, what if this is, and how can that affect your competition? So it'll be interesting to see what we get out of Stewart this year. He'll be a guy to keep an eye on as the season starts. How do things look like they're going? Does it look like he doesn't miss a beat? Does it look like he's maybe lost a step? We'll have to see. We know that truck is capable of things. Look what Honeycutt did at the end of the year, wheeling it to a third place finish in the championship. So, he ended up finishing the year strong. Can Stewart pick that up? Is he going to be healthy enough to pick that up? A lot of questions around this 52 car coming into the 26th season.
Anytime I think of drivers or anybody that deals with the mortality of what their profession is, I always think of that scene in Top Gun where Cougar is in that firefight and damn near loses it and damn near dies and just walks into the Admiral's office and puts his wings on there and says, I'm holding on too tight. I got to let go. And to me, everybody has that moment when they're dealing with something that you could possibly end up dying, and you have that clarity moment where it's like, listen, I've done what I needed to do. I'm holding on too tight. I can't do this anymore the way I want to do it. So we all hope that Stewart Friesen can come back on the track. The Truck Series is a much better place with him around. However, we do understand if the enormity of the situation is just too much to overcome.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's always, you hear it a lot from race car drivers, right? When you're young, you're fearless. You just go out and it's balls to the wall every lap. And then as you get older and you have a family and you have other interests, and that's when that starts to creep in. And it's not to say that Stewart can't put that out of his mind and go out there and race. He's a race car driver. I'm sure it's not the first time he's been hurt, but this was obviously a very spectacular big crash and caused a lot of injury to him. So it's a guy to watch, right? We're going to put that little tab on and say, okay, let's see if we still see some of that Stewart that we know in there, or if that's going to be affected going forward.
We shall see for sure as the season progresses. All right, let's turn our attention to the 66 ThorSport truck, which was the truck of Luke last season. Luke Fenhaus and Luke Baldwin occupied that truck for the most part of the season, with a smattering of Johnny Sauter in the Daytona race, and then Cameron Waters, as well as Chris Buescher in that truck for the Watkins Glen race. But other than that, it was Luke Fenhaus, Luke Baldwin. Maybe that again, just another rotating. Obviously, ThorSport has their big hitters, and so they'll just give this truck to somebody that can pay for it.
Yeah, the all-star truck, right? And I think that's what it'll continue to be. I know Tommy Baldwin is continuing to work on trying to get more races for Luke, and maybe they're able to put together a little bit bigger season this year. Saw some good results out of both Lukes, Fenhaus and Baldwin last year. Some opportunities. They both showed a lot of speed at times. Didn't necessarily capitalize on the finishes, but there's some stuff there. Both of them short track guys, really. So that 66 truck is going to be one on short tracks we're going to keep an eye on. If Chris Buescher decides he had fun in the Truck Series after his first time back, and however long it had been a long time. Maybe he'll come back in this truck and we'll get another opportunity to bet on him at a place like Watkins Glen or whatever. But TBD on that truck.
TBD on that truck. Also, Raja.
Do you want to? Should we lump in these two together? I guess the 71 and 77.
Sure. Yeah, that sounds like it's right.
basically the same story.
It kind of is. 71, 77. Raja Karuth, we know, is going to be splitting a full-time schedule in the Xfinity, or I'm sorry, I did it. This time I did it.
Money in the swear jar, right?
Money in the swear jar. In the O'Reilly series, he will be splitting time up there with the JRM camp and others. But that leaves the 71 truck unoccupied heading into this season. Also, the 77 truck of Corey LaJoie, who essentially gave his middle finger to pretty much the entire sport or the entire truck series, walked away, and that 77 truck now I don't think has an operator as well. Cody, what the hell, man? I'm telling you, the rotating, the musical chairs act that's going on right now, there's not that many people left to fill these seats. So who are they grabbing?
Yeah, well, sadly, with the Corey LaJoie thing, I don't know if this is part of that conversation we just had with Friesen, where it's like, it's not really worth it. But yeah, again, as a big Corey LaJoie fan, very turned off by his comments about not caring about racing, basically. So whatever is what it is. And Karuth, taking that next big step. I will say one of these two trucks looks very, I think looks very appetizing for a Nick Sanchez, right? He got replaced late in that 48 car in the O'Reilly series, and he's sitting out there without a ride right now. I think one of these Spire trucks would be the perfect fit. He drove for Rev Racing before, which was a Spire affiliated truck. That team doesn't exist anymore. So if they can work out a deal, maybe you'll see him at least part-time in one of these trucks. It sounds to me like Spire's just kind of undecided on all three trucks. We saw him kind of scale back to two trucks at the end of last year. I think they are shifting more focus into the Cup Series, which they should with great drivers like Carson Hocevar up there. But, some of these rides, again, Kyle Busch's, Carson Hocevar's, Daniel Suarez's, I would expect to see those types of guys running through these. Maybe LaJoie takes some races. But I think the only reason LaJoie was doing races for them last year is because he still had contractual obligations from before he was traded, that contract was still there. And basically they said, you're going to get in this truck. And he said, I don't want to not get paid. And so he got in the truck. But so I don't know that we'll see him back, but maybe Karuth comes down and drives in some truck races. We'll have to see. I think he'll probably be more focused on O'Reilly, but yeah, these are good trucks. I mean, we know that these are good trucks, right? That are unoccupied currently. Throw a Nick Sanchez in one of these trucks full time. I'd be very, very excited to see, him compete with all these other great guys we've already talked about.
I mean, Karuth finished 6th in the overall standings last year. He got that win, 5 top 5s, 13 top 10s. And, we talked about his win at Vegas a couple of years ago that got us a pretty decent paycheck as well. And so
80-1, but
who's counting? Kyle Busch getting a win as well. It's just, there's a lot of horsepower that's, I think, being put to waste if they don't get anybody in there full time, right? TK saying he's probably the same spot as Parker Kligerman, where he gets more as a media guy than he does a lower series driver. Still doesn't justify the attitude. No, it does not. 100%.
Yeah, I would not compare the two guys because Parker Kligerman loves racing. Parker Kligerman puts his heart and soul into racing, and Corey LaJoie flips his nose up and says, I'm too good to run in the truck series where 12 people are watching. I have a picture of Corey LaJoie right here. I love Corey LaJoie. You guys know if you've listened to this show for any amount of time, I love betting on him every time I go to Super Speedway. Just love the dude, and I'm so turned off by his attitude towards I'm too good to race in the truck series. Like, scoreboard, buddy, you're not. So it's unfortunate that that's what it's come to. But Parker Kligerman absolutely fucking loves racing and will do it in any way, shape, or form that he can. So I would definitely not compare the two. And then, John, just to wrap it up, Spire part-time drivers, probably. We'll see. Maybe you get a Nick Sanchez. Maybe there's somebody else that throws their hat in the ring and takes a ride full time, but currently it's looking like a mismatch of part-time guys.
Maybe Kligerman takes one of those races for Spire.
Although it looks like they're struggling, sadly, to find enough to get him back in the 75 truck for some part-time races. So you hate to see guys like that should be so marketable that struggle to get the money to take these rides. Indeed. Although maybe there's some LaJoie sponsorships out there since he doesn't care. If you go to Kligerman.
Although, who would that be?
His sponsorships?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's part of the problem. He doesn't have any.
Oh, that's true. Pennies?
The Built Bar.
He can have the penny.
LaJoie seating.
Yeah.
That's about it.
That's about it. All right. Speaking of that's about it, we skipped over to the 70s.
We've gone full circle. So just so you guys all see this, this has gone from all my love for Corey LaJoie to I'm sort of despising him at the moment.
I mean, it happens, right? All right, the 76 truck will be filled. Who knows? We don't know. The Freedom Racing Enterprise Chevrolet. Spencer Boyd sat in that seat last year, ran around 22nd.
I'm pretty sure he's back.
Probably.
I hope he's back.
Yeah.
I believe he's a part owner in this truck, so I don't know that they've announced anything, but I'm sure he'll be back. Auto bet Super Speedways.
Well, that and DFS Darling as well. He finished 17th, 17th, 15th, 20th.
Pre NASCAR gambling podcast, I cashed a 120-1 on Spencer Boyd to win the Talladega, and I will never forget a man so great as that.
Well, I mean, with an average start of 26.2, an average finish of 22, he's definitely a DFS darling. So we'll keep an eye on him there. All right. This is Kris Wright's territory to talk about Kris Wright.
Watch out. Oh,
yeah.
God, sorry. Kris Wright's on the track.
Kris Wright's on the track. Kris Wright will be in the 81. I know Jess wants further discussion about Kris Wright in the 81. Does he warrant any love in the 81 other than saying hi to Jess?
I hope that somebody explains to him that you should brake when there's a caution flag, because that would be very helpful. This is not the ARCA series. It's a McAnally Hilgeman truck. It's a good truck. It should be a fast truck, but he's only there because he's obviously bringing in some type of money. I don't know that I've seen anything ever from Kris Wright that makes me think, wow, that's a good race car driver. Like, I really don't know what else to say about the guy. I just, the things that we've seen from him is a lot of boneheaded, stupid stuff, driving into crashes way after they've happened. ARCA brakes is like his nickname. So I don't know. Maybe he can clean that up and prove something different. We've certainly seen that from guys before, but I have absolutely no expectations for Kris Wright in what should be a good ride. But yeah, not interested.
18 starts in the O'Reilly series or the Xfinity series last year in the 5-car. 2 starts in the Truck Series in the 16 for Hattori, 26th and 11th. 26th at the Roval, 11th at Talladega later in the season for Kris Wright. So, maybe somebody to keep an eye on in DFS. Definitely not somebody I'm wanting to go all in on for betting. All right, these next 2 drivers, though, and actually the next 4 numbers are all ridiculously heavy hitters, and the fact that we are this deep into it, now we're talking Ty Majeski, that's crazy, because obviously Ty Majeski now taking over that 88 truck that Matt Crafton is not in anymore. Matt Crafton had that talk with himself and realized that this kid's sport is getting a little too kiddie for him. So Matt Crafton
he's also dating a kid, so
it's true.
That's a whole other story, but
Ty Majeski in the 88 now, so Matt Crafton can go watch the Wiggles and enjoy life. But yeah, I mean, this doesn't do much for me other than, it's the same team, probably be the same truck. They'll just slap a new number on it. Ty Majeski will be back out there winning races next year. Yeah,
I would think. And I guess Joe Shearer, we believe, is staying with the 98, so it'll be a new crew chief and stuff. But yeah, I mean, this just kind of cements Majeski's spot for, hey, do you want to be the guy who stays in the Truck Series for the next 15 years? Because that's probably what he can be at this point. The Menards 88 truck, it's been around for a long-ass time, and it was Crafton forever. He's been a guy that's been solid. He won the championship a couple of years ago, and he's a constant contender. You got to watch out for pianos falling around him. Been a joke on this show for quite some time, but he's a very good race car driver, especially on the short, flat tracks. He's always going to be one of the favorites, going to be a guy that's in the mix, and really just about every week should be a guy that's in the mix, and we'll see what the change does, if it's, I guess, how it kind of plays out. We know the 88's not been up to par, but probably more of a Crafton issue than a ThorSport issue. We'll see, but I expect Majeski to be what Majeski is, and that's a very good truck driver and a guy that's competing for the championship at the end of the year.
Finished runner-up last year, despite not winning any races, 10 top 5s, 18 top 10s.
That was a bit shocking for him to not find victory lane. He struggled a lot last year, especially early on. Just kind of they couldn't get out of their own way. Championship hangover, call it what you want, right? He won the championship the year before, but never found his way to victory lane, which definitely was surprising. I'd be pretty shocked if Ty Majeski doesn't get a win in 2026 in this 88 truck.
Indeed. Okay, enough about Majeski. We know about Majeski. We'll talk about Majeski. Let's get to the man of the hour coming back
The
into
2026 NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series champion, Rod.
Christian Eckes in the 91 car, returning triumphantly to the Truck Series. He gave Corey Heim a run for his money all of the 2024 season, and honestly probably could have been the one to take Corey Heim down. But, Christian Eckes, look, he's going to be competitive. He's going to be one of those guys that we are going to be talking a lot about top fives, top tens, just a dominant driver in the Truck Series, and now he's back.
Yeah, he's back. The prodigal son returns, went and had his dalliance in the Xfinity Series, but love to see him back. I'm so excited. I will have a Christian Eckes championship ticket when the odds do come out. Very, very excited for him. When we last saw him full-time in the Truck Series in 2024, Rod, do you know, so they run, 25, 26 races a year. Do you know how many times he finished outside of the top 10?
I think it was like 2, right?
No, that would be double the amount of times, Rod. He only finished outside the top 10 one time. That was Atlanta, second race of the season. Super Speedway fine. The rest of the year, he was top 10 each and every single week. I mean, you look through his results in third, ninth, third, first, 6, 4, 3, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 6, 4, 4, 8, 1, 6, 10. Oh my God, what a horrible day. But yeah, he is a guy that competes each and every single week. He dominated some races. Martinsville races, go ahead and just book him for some wins. He won both Martinsville races in 24, led 187, 133. Nashville, he led every single lap, 150 laps there, 144 laps at Bristol. He can go out and kick everybody's ass any given week at all these tracks. Extremely good race car driver, extremely good in the Truck Series. Back with McAnally Hilgeman, not the 19 that he drove a few years ago, but same car, same trucks. And I'm super pumped for Christian Eckes to be back in the Truck Series and for us to be able to bet on him week in and week out, because he made us a ton of money in that 2024 season.
That's a deadly stable of cars they got going on there, though.
Literally,
yeah.
Kris Wright over there.
All right, and a potently powerful stable as well. But yeah, definitely high on Christian Eckes. Look, you don't have to know too much more about the Truck Series to know that he is going to be one of those guys that we're going to talk a ton about next year. The 98 ThorSport truck is left empty as Majeski departs for the 88. No plans here for anybody to take that spot. But again, Cody, Where are these drivers coming from?
I know. I'm trying to think of drivers who aren't signed out there, and I can't think of any huge names that don't have rides yet. So that's a bit interesting. But there's guys out there, right? And people that will fill in these rides. It'll be interesting to see if they run this as another, like the 66, an all-star truck, piece it together, or if they do end up with somebody full-time. Maybe, sometimes you're just waiting on financials to kind of come through before you announce these deals or whatever as you get closer to the season. So we'll see. It's obviously a good truck. Won the championship 2 years ago with Majeski in it. So yeah, I would imagine they're going to run this truck. It's just a case of who ends up in it. And the thing too with the Baldwin, the Fenhouse thing, do one of those guys have enough to take that step? Can Tommy work his contacts, and are they paying him enough at DBC to be able to fund his son into that truck full time next year? I don't know, but it'll definitely be interesting to see what ends up happening with to fill out this ThorSport stable. Besides their, of course, traditional guys that are just here all the time, like the 99 truck.
99 truck continues to be Ben Rhodes, former series champion, 2-time series champion, by the way, if you're keeping score, which a lot of people are.
Real fucking close to being 3-time, too. If it wasn't for Ty Majeski wrecking out of nowhere while Ben Rhodes was leading, he would be a 3-time champion of the Truck Series.
He would be a 3-time champion last year. Very disappointing 12th place finish overall in the points for Ben Rhodes. Somebody we were very high on and delivered a little early in the season, but sort of fell off, especially after his second place at Bristol, where he had a 24th at Loudon, 36th at the Roval, 16th at Talladega, 14th at Martinsville, 29th at Phoenix. Just a abysmal end of the season for Ben Rhodes, but he's back to avenge and back to try to get back into the championship mix. And I mean, in a loaded Truck Series field, Cody, it's going to be tough again.
Yeah, as I was going back and looking at my tickets at the end of the season, I think there were 4 different times throughout the year that I placed championship bets on Ben Rhodes because it was like, oh, how do you not put a little more on these odds, right? And he kept winning in odd years, so we thought maybe that'd be the year. Doesn't even make the playoffs. That was definitely disappointing. And really, I guess ThorSport overall a bit disappointing. Majeski doesn't win. Craftsman obviously was just on his way out, and Rhodes not getting there. But I think that they'll turn that around. I think that, and again, Heim not winning all these races, and we assume that Heim will run some truck races, probably in one of the Tricon trucks. But having him not winning every single week will definitely open up some other wins for other guys. And I would expect to see Ben Rhodes back in the hunt, depending on what the championship format is. He's very much a Joey Logano where he can run last every week, or he'll be in the hunt for the championship at the end of the day. And never a guy you want to count out. Likely we're going to get a big enough championship number on him that I'm probably going to bet it once again this year because he's too hard to pass up on because he just finds a way. Again, we'll see what the format is. If it's like a full season thing, probably not. Even if it's a 10, and I don't know if they would do 10 in the trucks, if they do 10 at the end, if it was like 8 races or whatever, a chase for the cup type of thing, might consider him there. We'll have to see as we get the format, but he'll be a guy I definitely look at his championship odds.
Yeah, and a guy that we'll talk about quite a bit too, as far as top fives and top.
Yeah, because he's a guy that any given week can jump up and cash a bet for you, even when it doesn't look like things are going well. He'll just pop up and like, oh, this is the Ben Rhodes race, and he wins, and there you go.
Indeed. All right, that's it for all the full-time trucks or full-time adjacent. We're not going to go through all these part-time trucks. There's a ton to go. That's another episode, and we don't need to go into all of that.
You don't want to talk about Norm Benning?
Let's talk about him. As far as, do you want to talk about like not wanting to do kid things, man? This guy, what is he like? He's pretty damn old.
He's like 95. Remember when his truck caught on fire last? Oh, geez, that was brutal. But,
that was brutal.
No, yeah, we don't need to. We need all those guys in the field. It's great to see them, but we don't need to talk any farther on them.
We do not. We'll put it to bed here. All right. So then we've got something on tap for you tomorrow. We'll figure it out. We'll come back. What did we talk about? I think we said, what did we say? If we wrap this up today.
Well, we're waiting to see. I don't know. We'll let you know tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll let you know tomorrow. It'll be a fun show no matter what we talk about.
I'm slacking on my responsibilities over here. So
listen, man, as we get closer to the rhythm of the season, we're just all.
It might be part 1 of the O'Reilly lineup,
could
or
be.
It might be something else. You'll see.
Indeed. All right. Well, then. Let's do that. Let's go away from here now and set up for tomorrow's show, whatever that may be. But in the meantime, Cody, let everybody know where they can find you outside of this world.
Yeah, follow me over on the X at Husker_Z, where you can find all my stuff over there. A lot of it. Tons of NFL stuff. John Harbaugh futures are out there. Where will he end up, Rod? That's out there. I got an article on that over at Sports Gambling Podcast. College football playoff stuff, NFL playoff stuff. All sorts of stuff. Make sure you check it all out over there at sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Hit the subscribe, the like, the share, all that fun stuff. We're getting close to the season. Start ramping up those algorithms, helping us out. We'd appreciate it. And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
John Harbaugh to drive the 98. That would be a lot of fun. All right, ladies and gentlemen, follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez.
We've had some football coaches that have been race car drivers. We have an actor right now that's a race car driver. I wouldn't put it past him.
I would not either. All right, follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. You can find all the stuff that I am up to there as well. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow with something. And until then, have some fun out there, everybody. Just enjoy the day. And let's make NASCAR gambling fun again. Let's go racing and let it ride.